Hey you, what up? Welcome to my channel. Welcome back. I'm Maryam, and in today's video, I decided I'm gonna do something a little bit different. Usually, my channel is focused on makeup reviews, on product reviews, but today's video is actually going to be a tips video. But it's a tips video that I think a lot of you will appreciate, not just those who watch my channel on the regular, but more of an expanded audience. So if you're here for the first time, subscribe to this channel, give me a thumbs up, comment below, all that good stuff so you can see all of my Wednesdays and Sundays videos. And now on to the topic. Today I'm going to be talking about strategic makeup placement and strategic concealing to help you apply your makeup in a very thoughtful way so that it can look natural, so it can look radiant, and so that it's not a layered mask of makeup, but rather a more approachable type of makeup, so that you can go from this bare face to this full face, but wearing very little coverage. So I'm gonna teach you all the steps. I'm gonna show you what I do. I'm gonna teach you how to conceal your imperfections. This is basically my intent for today's video. I really hope you guys are here for it. So without further ado, let's begin. All right, so first and foremost, as always, I'm gonna start with primer. Depending on your skin type, you may wanna reach for a hydrating primer if you're dry, or perhaps a primer that will extend the wear of your makeup. For me, because I'm very oily, I'm also acne prone, I'm gonna go for the DANESSA MYRICKS Yummy Skin Blurring Balm Powder in the shade Universal. This is something that can be used as a primer. So I'm going to scoop out just a little bit of this product. Those of you who watch my channel on the regular know that I love this one. I use this a lot. So what I'm gonna do is apply this first layer of product onto my face and kind of like concentrate it on the center of my face, but really blurring it out across the skin surface all over my face. Now I have reviews on this product, so you definitely can check that one out, but essentially you just want to stretch out the product and make it one with your skin, because at first it does go on a little bit oily. So the reason why I even came up with this topic is because, well, first of all, it's something that comes up a lot in my videos, but I don't have like one dedicated video on this subject. But recently I was doing a live stream for Acne Awareness Month with one of my favorite acne brands, CeraVe, and in the live stream, one of my tips about concealing acne was literally using strategic concealing. And after I finished the live stream, I realized, oh my gosh, I don't actually have a dedicated video to this topic, and also on strategic placement of makeup. So I thought it might be a good opportunity for me to create that video. And since also this is a topic that has been talked about a number of times, I saw my friend Chloe Morello do an amazing video on TikTok, and it also kind of inspired me to create my own version of this video. Although she even says in her video she's not the person who came up with this. This is a technique that has been used for a long time in makeup. I even think I have a couple of really old IG videos on this technique, so I just thought I'd show you guys my updated version. Alright, so now that my face is nice and primed, it looks very matte, I am going to start strategically placing all of my makeup. So when using this technique, one of my go-to tips, or like one thing to remember, is to use foundation, concealer, bronzer, and blush, even highlighter of the same consistency. So today I'm using a liquid foundation, also a liquid blush, a liquid concealer, a darker liquid concealer for a bronzer, and a liquid highlighter. Of course, if you're using creams, then stick to creams. With powders, I don't think it would be as easy to do this with powders. It would be a slightly different technique, but I think the easiest and just like the most approachable way is to use all liquid. So that's what I'm gonna do today. So the first thing I'm gonna do is basically apply my foundation. I'm using this DIOR Backstage Face and Body Foundation in 3W. I'm gonna shake it up, apply some to just the back of my hand first, and then with my finger or with like the end of the brush, I'm gonna apply some small dots of this foundation to the parts where I want this foundation to appear. So essentially all over my face, just avoiding a couple of areas. Next thing I'm gonna do is strategically apply my concealer. For my concealer today, I'm using the Dominique Cosmetics Wide Awake Concealer in the shade Café con Leche. I'm gonna dot some of this concealer strategically to just certain parts of the face where I want to brighten, lift, kind of like that. Next, I'm gonna apply my darker concealer as a bronzer. So this is also the Dominique Cosmetics Wide Awake in the shade Hazelnut. This one I'm gonna add along the perimeter of my forehead for bronzing, underneath my cheekbone for a subtle contour, a little bit right here, a little bit right there, and maybe perhaps a little bit right here to lift the corners of the eye and around the nose as well. Next, I'm gonna reach for my Charlotte T Glowgasm Beauty Light Wand High Blush. It's kind of like a highlighter blush hybrid. Squeeze out a little bit of product and place that strategically in that area where I would want my blush to appear. Right there, perhaps a little bit on the nose as well, just to tie it all together. And then lastly, I'm gonna use the JACLYN Cosmetics liquid highlighter in the shade Lightning. This is a really pale gold highlighter. I'm only going to add a smidgy poo, like 2 tiny little drops right here, maybe a little bit in the center of my lid, nose. That's pretty much it for just a little bit of highlighting. Now you absolutely do not need to apply all these products at the same time, but I wanted to show you what this map out would look like. Actually, there's one more area that I forgot, which is along the jaw. You don't have to do this, but you can if you want to. So this is the map out of where all of these products need to be placed, kind of like a rough outline. Obviously, this is how I want it to appear on me because I have, you know, higher cheekbones, so I want to place my blush a little bit higher. I do have quite a wide forehead, so I do want to narrow it a little bit, and I want to lower my forehead a little bit. I don't really like to contour my nose, so I applied only a few strategic dots on my nose, but if you're someone who likes to contour your nose or add more shadow there, then by all means, please do what you think is right for you. But essentially, this is the map out. You're looking kind of crazy, but it will make sense in a pinch. So the first thing that I like to do is blend out my actual bronzer. So I'm gonna use this Rare Beauty brush and just like smooth out all of those edges, smooth out all of those lines, starting with the jaw and just blending along my jawline and using stippling motions, blending it down and blending it up like that. Next, I'm gonna do the same thing to the cheekbone using just the tip of the brush and just making sure that everything is blended well. Making sure that you have no dots, basically. Don't worry if you start overlapping with the foundation, that's totally fine. The foundation will actually help you blend all of this stuff. And although it looks like this is a lot of product on my face, really it's just one layer. All right, so once you've got the forehead and the larger areas of contour blended out, you can easily move on to the foundation. So I just did my forehead, now moving on to the chin. I'm kind of like cleaning up all of that contour from underneath, like that. And then finally, I'm gonna move on to the cheeks and to the blush. So I'm just gonna start lifting all of that up, making sure I'm blending my blush into my contour, into this outer corner highlighter. I'm not touching the detailing stuff yet. So I'm not touching the concealer under the eyes or over the eyes. I'm just going over the cheekbone area. This is a larger area on me, so I can easily use the same brush. But if you want to switch brushes at this point, you totally can. Also, all of these products that I'm using right now can sit on your face for a few minutes, so these will not stain your makeup or your skin. You know, there's certain foundations that set very quickly, or certain blushes or highlighters, even concealers that set quickly. You have to move quickly with them. None of these do any of the sort. This can sit on your face until you are ready to blend them out. And all of these, for the most part, are the same consistency. They're the same thinness of liquid. All right, so now that I've done that, you can immediately see how clean and how professional this area looks. You can clearly distinguish between the contour, the bronzer, the blush, the highlighter or the high points of the face. The forehead looks more rounded out. It looks like I just layered a bunch of makeup onto my face, but in fact, outside of the primer, this is only one layer of product on my face. It's just strategically placed. Remember that, strategically placed. Okay, so now for the detailing portion, I am gonna switch my brush to something a little bit smaller. Since I'm sticking with Rare Beauty, I guess I'm gonna go for the Rare Beauty concealer brush that I love so much. I'm gonna grab a small mirror now. I'm gonna kind of place it to the side so you can really see what I'm doing. I'm gonna blend out my under eye concealer first, but then keep this brush handy because it's got all the other layers of colors on it. So keep this one handy for blending. Do the same thing on this eye, making sure you're blending everything. Now I'm gonna blend out the contour around the nose, underneath my lip, around the corner of my eye. This one for some reason makes a huge difference in lifting your features. And it's just a small dot of product, but it makes all the difference. Look at that. And now you can see that my contour, my eye contour, my forehead contour, they're all sort of lifting in the same direction. I'm gonna blend out the foundation on my nose. I don't really like to apply too much foundation on my nose because I really like the freckles on my nose and I like to make them shine. So I just went in with whatever was remaining on this brush and just a little bit of product. I am gonna blend out that blush. And lastly, that contour. And then the final thing that's left to blend out is this highlighter. And for that, I think I'm just gonna use my finger. Also add a little bit to the inner corner for just a subtle glow. And there you have it. It's all blended out. Now, if I weren't actually talking to the camera and like paying attention to what I was doing, explaining, this would take much quicker. So keep in mind, you can move very quickly with this technique. You don't have to actually like sit there and wait for these products to set. You can start with the deepest color, like the bronzer / contour shade, and then move on to the foundation, to the blush, and then to the detailing. You can go the opposite way as well. Blend out the concealer first with a smaller brush or with your foundation brush, and then go to your blush, your foundation, your bronzer. But I prefer to do it the other way just because for me, it helps me avoid any sort of mistakes, but either way is fine. Next thing I'm gonna do is just set my areas of interest. I'm gonna use the Dominique Cosmetics Wide Awake Powder. This little brush from Charlotte T. I'm gonna set the under eye and the pore zones. I'm also just gonna dust some of this powder underneath my contour and a little bit between the brows. So I'm not actually powdering down my whole entire face just yet because I do want to show you how to strategically conceal certain spots. Right now, my skin is very clear. I don't have any major spots or bumps, but if I did, now would be the time for me to conceal them. On top of this first initial light layer that I just applied, if I were to really get picky, I have a tiny little acne scar right here, and then I have like another discoloration right here. I'm adding just the smallest amount of product possible, almost like a pin dot. I have a freckle here that I'm not completely in love with, so I'm gonna try to conceal her too. And another one right here. But outside of that, my skin's pretty clear. It's been behaving, so I'm not complaining. Next, I'm gonna grab a tiny little brush like this one. This one is a Huda Beauty Eye Smudge Brush. You can use anything that's small and not too pointy, maybe just like a little bit rounded. I have another one from Wing Goss 05 brush. This one just looks like a tiny dome brush. I'm actually gonna use this one. And basically what I'm gonna do is just stipple the product into my skin and then go over it with my foundation brush, the one that I used on all the products on my face. So essentially I'm concealing and then I'm sort of sealing it in. Concealing and sealing. For this part, it's also important to note that your concealer should match your skin tone as closely as possible, or the foundation that you're wearing as closely as possible. So right now I'm using a concealer that's a pinch lighter, but it's close enough, it's not that far off. Plus the stamping method on top really helps to hide the imperfection. All right, so essentially that is it. That is strategic concealing and strategic makeup placement in a nutshell. Next thing I'm gonna do is set the rest of my face. I'm gonna use a big fluffy brush. This one is from Hourglass. I'm gonna set the forehead, I'm gonna set the cheeks. Is that a cat hair? Cat hair! And that is pretty much it. And now let me just turn to the side and let me show you what it looks like. Pretty good, don't you think? I'm kind of impressed. And I'm also impressed for the simple fact that I don't utilize this technique nearly as often as I should. And it's actually such a great technique. You're wearing less makeup. It is the summertime, so it's the perfect opportunity for us to be wearing less makeup if you're in the Northern Hemisphere. It gives you a very professional, very defined makeup look, as if you actually got your makeup done by someone who knows what they're doing. But anyone can use this technique because it really is very, very simple. So not only is your skin breathing, your makeup is also looking a lot more professional. And the more you practice, the quicker you can actually do it. So also you're saving time. So to me, this is a no-brainer. This is definitely a technique that should be in your arsenal, in your makeup knowledge. It should be a go-to for you, whether you're running late, whether you want to wear less makeup, whether you want to let your skin breathe, whatever the reason may be. I wanted to show you this technique. I wanted to kind of give you my take on it so that you can make it yours. So now I am going to finish up the rest of my makeup. I'm gonna add some mascara, some waterproof mascara from Essence, just so I can give you guys a final look. And now I'm gonna add some liquid lipstick from R.E.M Beauty, shade Hottie. You can watch my previous video for lip swatches of this whole lip collection. All right, and while my lips dry, I do want to mention that if you are someone who is very oily like me, if you want your makeup to last, you could potentially do an extra step. You could add a powder bronzer on top to just the areas that you bronzed up and contoured. You could also add some powder blush on top of your blush just to make it a little bit more vibrant, a little bit more saturated, and obviously long lasting. I'm gonna skip all that for today because I actually want to go outside and I want to enjoy the day, and because I'm going to be in the sun, I want to be wearing less makeup. And of course, by the way, I have all of my SPF and skincare underneath. With that, I guess it's time for me to wrap this video. I hope you guys learned something new. I was really excited to share this technique because it's something that I've been talking about a lot lately and should be utilizing more often, not just on my channel, but also in my real day life. On that positive note, I'm going to zoom on out. Thank you guys so much for watching and for subscribing. I'm going to invite you to check out more of my videos over here, a video that you may like, and my most recent video. Click on them. Peace out, and I'm out.